Alright, brand new week, brand new selection of games to talk about. Games here that I have no doubt a lot of you are going to want to hear about. Now, while I have your attention, I do want to go ahead and preface this video with two things real quick. First, we are going to be streaming over on our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/MMOBite in just a few hours. Come join us, as we would love to have all of you guys on over. We stream every Tuesday, every Saturday, and every Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Second, we actually have an MMORPG giveaway going on where you can win any MMO you want. Wow, Shadowlands, Final Fantasy XIV, Shadowbringers, the Guild Wars 2 expansions, Elder Scrolls Online, Black Desert, Ashes of Creation, New World. Participating is really easy. All you have to do is click that link down in the description below and the pinned comment. And finally, we're going to be holding individual giveaways over on our Twitter accounts for each month leading into Christmas. If you guys want the opportunity to win some really awesome goodies, go ahead and follow us at Bitesticks or at The Short Nurse. Links to those will again be down in the description and the pinned comment below, or you can actually probably see them on screen, like around here somewhere or something. Otherwise, we have plenty to talk about, so let's just go ahead and jump right into this week's weekly bite of MMORPG news. Let's start this off with some Elyon news. The devs behind the game have been working quite extensively on Elyon ever since he rebranded from Ascent Infinite Realm, and it shows. They've released plenty of screenshots, and there have been a ton of videos surfaced of the type of game that it has evolved into. However, one important bit of information always escaped us. When is it coming? Turns out next weekend we will have a definitive answer on that front. Next weekend, the team behind the upcoming Unreal Engine 3 MMORPG will reveal when the MMO will finally launch officially. I believe the South Korean incarnation of the game is slated for release initially, but they confirmed back when the game was Ascent Infinite Realm that the international version in North America and Europe would launch shortly after, mere months if I recall. Have you ever wanted to dress up like 2B? Of course you have, everyone has, even I have. Wait, what? Fresh off of the success of their latest episode 5 release, Phantasy Star Online 2 is receiving 2 new collaboration events. The international incarnation of the game is getting a NieR Automata pack that allows you to, well, as one would guess, dress up like characters right out of the NieR Automata game. And the Japanese version is actually getting a brand new upcoming Sword Art Online crossover slated for release in December 2020. Whether or not the international version of the game receives the very same event, but at a later date, remains to be seen, but it is probably one of the better selections of outfits available, if a little bit expensive, I guess, at $35. Now we just have to wait for the release of episode 6 and the brand new Genesis game next year. I'd reported earlier this month, heck, even last month, that I thought Gameforge might end up being the publisher for TERA after NMAS, the publisher for the game since it released in North America, shut down. People were like, oh god, no, there's no way Gameforge is a European publisher, they don't do North American games. Well, you know what? Here we are with the announcement that Gameforge are going to be the global publisher for the MMO. Now, I'm not going to say I told you so, but I kind of told you so. While NMAS were a pretty bad publisher for the game, it's worth noting that Gameforge might potentially make the game even worse. A lot of players are concerned that this is a step in the wrong direction after the developer opted to take direct control over the console version and have actually announced that they're going to continue active development of the console port. Yeah, while the PC version essentially goes into maintenance mode with Gameforge, the console version will continue to be actively developed with new classes, races, and content being added. RIP TERA. Despite the negative press its predecessor received as Blast Online, and despite the negative press the PC iteration of Blast Unleashed will receive, the upcoming MMORPG is holding its closed beta test for the PC version on November 4th, 2020. Players are capable of pre-registering for the closed beta right now if you're interested, but note that unlike the PS4 and the Xbox versions of the game, which are actually published by Bandai Namco, this will be handled directly by the very same studio that handled Blast Online. So be careful, and if you're interested in the game, I would honestly just advise you against purchasing any founders packs. We all know how well those went over the last time this launched onto Steam. We've already signed up and will probably, or hopefully, be streaming the closed beta to give players a look at the game before it launches over on our Twitch channel. Once again, twitch.tv/MMOBite. It was recently brought to my attention that Astellia Online, after shutting down in South Korea and launching within North America, is getting a complete overhaul. And this was their words, mind you. But by overhaul, what I mean is that it's getting a very small content update and completely rebranding under a new title, Astellia Royal. Yeah, the team are going to re-release the game under a brand new title and are actually targeting a global release for the game, even though a version of the game already exists outside of South Korea. the current buy-to-play Astellia Online that we can all play right now. It's unconfirmed what will happen to the North American version of the game, but it looks like the new Astellia Royal title will be completely free, weirdly enough. I guess this is what they did with the funds they made from the international audience. After the monumental failure that was their Kickstarter, the devs behind the upcoming Titan Reach MMORPG have opted to take a different route. Instead of Kickstarter, they're taking their campaign to Indiegogo, the much less secure crowdfunding platform. The Kickstarter in question managed to only raise $125,000, or a little over $125,000 out of their $420,000 goal, which honestly does go a ways to show the overall appeal for the game, which obviously is just not there for many players. Whether or not they manage the funds using Indiegogo remains to be seen, but I would urge you all to be very, very careful with not only the developers, but also backing the game going forward. I know a lot of players have been eagerly anticipating playing the brand new Shadowlands expansion. Both Mrs. Six and I have been because we are huge fans of World of Warcraft, and especially after the game was delayed to an undisclosed date. So when the pre-patch released earlier this month, I and both Mrs. Six were ecstatic to go ahead and play it. The pre-patch squished the max level for the game down to 60 and provided an entirely overhauled leveling experience and introductory zone for players to tackle when first beginning the game. While not much in the way of additional content was added, it is worth noting that you now have access to the overhauled classes, the allied races, and everything else you would have if Shadowlands were playable right now, just minus the Shadowlands content. It was revealed in 2016 that a brand new console sequel to the popular Perfect World PC MMORPG was in development. However, after 2016 went by, the game largely flew under the radar for 4 whole years, with the developers finally reassuring players as of 2020 that they are still largely at work on finishing the game. But instead of its original title Perfect World console version, it was instead rebranded under Perfect World Remake. Not only that, but instead of remaining a console exclusive, the MMO was going to launch cross-platform between consoles and PC. Yeah, no mobile functionality. We have Perfect World Mobile for that. Perfect World Remake is going to embrace a brand new graphical style, being built on Unreal Engine 4, and will do away with the tap target combat the PC MMO had been known for, while keeping various features the franchise has been known for: aerial combat, extensive customization options, and its large open world. It does not currently have a release date scheduled, however, so it could still be a ways off. During September 2019, I covered an upcoming MMO called Profane. It was not your typical MMO. It felt more like a generic survival game with MMO elements meshed together, with a large focus on the game being crafting, building, and exploration, and being full loot like most survival games tend to be. Meaning that if you die, you drop all of your items and all of your gear, and other people can come on over and just loot it. Now, there were plans in place to run a limited test phase towards the end of 2020. However, as of earlier last week, it was revealed via their Discord that they were actually going to be delaying those tests indefinitely. The game is planned to launch as a free-to-play title when it eventually makes it out of its early access in the next few years, if they ever make it that far. Ashes of Creation is still years off from being available to play in any fully functional form, but that does not stop the team behind the game from releasing their Alpha 1 playtest schedule. In this, they went on to detail the first 3 stages of their very first alpha, with the first pretest going live on December 18th through December 21st. There will be an NDA in place during this test. The second pretest will be going live February 19th through February 22nd, and will again feature an NDA. The third pretest will be held from March 19th through March 26th. This will not have an NDA present, and will actually allow specific content creators into the game to capture and showcase the game and the progress they have made over the course of the development cycle. Finally, the first official Alpha 1 test will go live on April 6th through May 6th, lasting an entire month. Note that this will be an alpha test phase. The game is going to be barely functional and not at all the final stage the game will be in once it ultimately launches several years from now. Let's just hope that once the game does finally launch, there's still some hype left for it and a market left for it to launch into, especially since it's trying to compete with WoW and Final Fantasy XIV, as this will require a monthly subscription fee to play. Every few months, we get little trickles of information pertaining to Mad World. Today, we got a brand new gameplay video featuring the latest gameplay for the game. This comes after the statement released by Jandysoft recently, the developers behind the game, concerning the release of the MMO and their goal of releasing sometime before 2020 ends. A Twitter user dropped a comment on one of their tweets asking how many months it will be before the game releases, followed by, "Are you sure it's still coming this year?" Which the official Twitter responded with, "We are doing our best to do that." While they're still hard at work with Netmarble to get the game into a stable state to release, they're trying their best to communicate with their community and meet the goals that they have imposed on themselves. I know Torchlight 3 is not technically an MMORPG anymore, but you know what? That doesn't mean that we won't still cover it. This was an MMO at one point. Mystics even did a dedicated video on it, but it has changed so drastically that it's not the same game that it once was. After repeated delays and evidently mass overhauls to the entire game, Torchlight 3 is finally launched, and it has launched to very mixed reviews. 40% positive thus far over on Steam, but tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of players have played it so far, so they've seen quite the return on investment made. The game is available completely cross-platform between PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4 for $40. New World has resumed its alpha testing as of October 20th. With the mass amount of feedback, both positive and negative, Amazon Game Studios are taking the game back into alpha testing in an attempt to remedy the issues players had ahead of their supposed spring 2021 beta test and launch shortly thereafter. Players can actually apply for the alpha test if they want to, but there won't be too much different from the incarnation of the game that was present during the preview. Noticeably different though was one feature in specific. While there were balance changes made to different weapons and abilities, the most noteworthy change was providing each weapon with their own independent ability cooldowns. During the preview, players complained quite extensively that clicking an ability on your hotkey would make that hotkey go on a global cooldown for all weapons and abilities sharing that very same keybind. But this change removes shared cooldowns entirely, something that never should have been in the game to begin with. I actually have a dedicated video coming on New World and everything you have to look forward to, all the questions you might have coming on Monday, which is just 48 hours from now, so stay tuned for more info. MiHoYo have revealed their plans for the upcoming patch 1.1 for Genshin Impact, their plans on what it'll go ahead and include, their plans on the follow-up patch 1.2, patch 1.3, and more. Overall, we don't have much in the way of story coming, but we have 4 new characters, we have some new banners, some new features, and more to look forward to over the coming weeks. Unfortunately, the new Inazuma region is not planned for any currently revealed patch, with the earliest release being with patch 1.4, but even that isn't really looking entirely likely. New patches will come out every 6 weeks, with patch 1.1 coming out just a few weeks from now. And finally, Blue Protocol. I know this, as always, is what quite a few of you guys are after, and we have a few different things to talk about after Bandai Namco's most recent live stream for the game. First, they announced that there will be a brand new closed beta test happening on November 7th for players that want to participate. I have a guide on how to sign up for that on our website, mmobite.tv. Second, they confirmed that not only is the upcoming MMO coming out next year in 2021 within Japan, but also that they are working on an international version of the game as well, coming out in either 2021 or 2022. The wording was a little bit vague on that. They've made progress in various areas, character creation, matchmaking, class balancing, and are planning more going into the future as they approach the official launch next year. This is also pertaining to brand new classes as well, something that many players are actually concerned with. Multiple are currently in the works, with them having an entire list of classes that they are interested in implementing in the future. I did a video a few days ago titled Everything You Need to Know About Blue Protocol Going into 2021. That video went over everything, every question you might have, and pretty much everything you need to know regarding the game going into the future, coming into its full release of the game. So you can go ahead and check that out if you have any more questions. I cover pretty much everything you could imagine. And that is it. That is all of the information that has been brought to my attention over the course of the last 2 weeks. If you think there's anything that I missed, you can go ahead and let me know, either down in the comment section below. You can message us on Twitter, you can message us on Instagram, on Facebook, via Discord, any way you want to. All you have to do is include a link to the article. I'll go ahead and look it, and if applicable, we'll include it in the next news video. Anyway guys, that is it for me. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.